G'day mates, I know I've missed a few videos. I just flew in tonight back from LA from the NRG mini LAN event where we got to see who was the best region, which team had the best mechanics at LAN, and honestly it was such a ridiculous day. I'm going to talk about all of that at the end of today's video because I want to kick off today's video talking about the FNCS format. FNCS has been announced, it's right around the corner in less than 2 weeks and it is a fantastic format, but a lot of you guys are confused, so I'm going to explain it, give my thoughts on it. Let's just jump straight into it. I know this was announced a couple days ago. As always, I would have dropped a video as soon as I could have. I've just gotten back from the NRG event in LA. It's literally 1:30 in the morning. I flew in 2 hours ago and I'm making this video. I'm going to talk about the event in a second, but I wanted to make sure you guys are all across what's going on with the FNCS format. So I've been getting a whole bunch of DMs on Twitter of you guys being confused. Let's run it as quick as we can and make it simple. So this FNCS, there are now 3 qualifiers that have 4 rounds each. They're going to take place at the start. Then there's going to be semifinals and grand finals. Those are exactly the same as last season, so nothing confusing there. So the only thing that is different is the qualifiers. Let me run you through those. So like I said, 3 qualifiers with 4 rounds. How each round is going to work is anyone's eligible to play in round 1 as long as you're in Champions Division. It's going to be, of course, duos. The top 2,000 duos from EU, NA East, and Brazil. Top 1,000 duos from Asia, Middle East, and top 500 duos from OC are going to move through into the round 2. Then from round 2 into round 3, the top 500 duos from EU, NA East, and Brazil, and then top 250 duos from Asia, Middle East, and OCE. And then round 4 is, of course, going to be taking the top 50 players from round 3, and that is going to be the set lobbies. From the set lobbies, the top 5 teams at the end of round 4 will skip semifinals altogether and go straight into the grand finals. Now, this is amazing. They added an extra qualifier. Everyone is super happy about that. The more qualifiers, the better up to a certain point. I get why they don't want to run like 8 qualifiers. It just get boring. It would just get annoying. I do think 3 or 4 qualifiers is the perfect number. My only slight issue with the format is I really would have liked the 3 qualifiers to run on 3 separate weekends leading into FNCS, making FNCS a grand total of 5 weeks, which is what everyone seems to really like. This FNCS format is going to only be 4 weeks. It's not as bad as last season where the 2 qualifiers were literally 2 days back to back, 4 days in a row of hell. Everyone hated that. This is better. This is going to run across 2 separate weeks. I'll put all the dates on the screen here in case you want to see them. It's only qualifier 1 and 2 that are going to be running back to back. Then there's going to be a break until qualifier 3. So it's not as bad. You are going to have to play 8 rounds of FNCS from May 2nd to May 8th. So in 6 days, you're going to play 8 rounds of FNCS if you don't qualify out of the first one. But it's an extra qualifying round. That's what makes me really happy. We're going to see a lot of the good teams make it through. And with the top 5 automatically qualifying as well, there's some stakes. There's no prize money for the qualifiers, but there is an automatic qualification into grand finals, which in a lot of regions means guaranteed prize money. Now, semifinals and grand finals are exactly the same, but I'll explain it in case you guys are still confused. So we're already going to have 15 teams in the grand finals that came top 5 in the first 3 qualifiers. We just explained that. So semifinals is going to be getting all the remaining teams. So the way it's going to work is session 1 is going to take the top 50 most consistent teams from the first 3 qualifiers who didn't get top 5. They're going to play 5 set lobby games. The top 5 winners, so whoever wins one of the 5 games, is going to go straight through into grand finals, and then the 6 next most consistent teams that didn't get a win. So that's going to make 11 teams going into grand finals. Obviously, that means 11 teams are now taken out of the semifinal player pool, so we need to fill those slots. So then there's going to be another semifinal session that's going to have all the teams who didn't get a win or didn't get top 6, and then it's going to be filling their spots with the next most consistent players. Does that make sense? Then you're going to run session 2. It's going to be 6 matches, 6 winners, and top 6 go through, and then session 3 is the exact same thing. So then the main advantage here is you want to get top 50 in the series leaderboard because you want to play in all of the semifinals. That means you're going to get to play in all of the grounds. So what is that? 17 matches. If let's say you're the 51st most consistent, you only get to play session 2 and session 3 because you won't get to play session 1. All right, so stay with me there. And then grand finals, nice and simple. Grand finals exactly the same as usual. It's going to be 12 games. They did drop the match point by 25 points. Now you only need 475 total points, and 3 3 victory hours, but seeing as almost no one got close to the match point, a couple regions did, but honestly, they only did it because they won their last game or had huge pop-offs in their last game, where the whole point of match point, for it to have any real impact, you need to get 475 points and 3 victory hours by the 11th game. If it happens in the last game, nothing was achieved anyway. You're the winner at the end. Everyone got to play the 12th game. So match point is still not really a huge factor. Don't stress about it too much. It's there, but I don't think it's going to be an impact to any of the regions. And if it is, it's going to have to be an insane performance. Now, as far as the prize pool, it is exactly the same. I have raised concerns in previous videos about how, based on Epic's metric for how they figured out these prize pools being player base, they need to reevaluate these prize pools. The Brazil player base has dropped significantly. The Asia player base has increased significantly. NA West is also needing to be boosted up a little bit. So it is unfortunate to see that Epic hasn't reevaluated the prize pool. And again, I'm not getting into all the drama and debate saying Brazil doesn't deserve the money. I don't want that to come across at all. I'm just saying that Epic came up with a way that they said was going to be fair for how regions were going to get prize money. And based on that reasoning, the prize pool needs to be adjusted. It is no longer fair. But that's the FNCS format. Like I said, I'm a lot happy with it than the last season. I think it would be perfect if we just had an extra week where that qualifier that runs back to back was on its own week. But overall, I'm super excited. And as far as doing viewing parties for this, I'm about to go crazy. Twitch.tv/Aussie Antics. You guys know I'm already organizing a way where I can do like a bingo card system where I can gift out subs and prizes. I'm also setting up a prediction system, but like a proper prediction system. You guys are gonna be able to like pick players to build almost like a fantasy team, and based on how they'll do, you'll get points to then get prizes. It's gonna be sick. Stay tuned. I haven't figured it all out yet, but I got some really cool experts working on this one. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm so excited for FNCS. Now, I get to do a bit of a story time. I'll run you guys through what you maybe missed, but a lot of people were talking about it. We had the NRG Champion Show this weekend where we brought out a whole bunch of players from around the world to compete at a LAN event in person, same setup, same ping, to see who had the best mechs. And now, I know we brought out the FNCS Champions, so we had teams like K1ng Queasy who aren't really into Zone Wars, and it ended up being a Zone Wars tournament, but it was super exciting, and I loved seeing all the guys go head to head, seeing who had the better mechanics. And honestly, if you had scripted this tournament, it could not have gone any better or been more exciting. It was crazy, and I know I was supposed to be hosting and casting. I was gonna be streaming, and a lot of you guys are ready for that. I will just off the bat say that it wasn't the best weekend for me, unfortunately, with a lot of issues. I originally couldn't even get into LA on time. My flights won't let me. I didn't have the paperwork for my visa. I ended up getting there. Turns out the lawyers didn't realize that I would be hosting and casting the event. Once they thought that I was, they realized this would then cause issues to my work visa that's still pending. Whole bunch of boring stuff, but basically I got screwed. I couldn't host and cast it, but we called in Sancho. The event was still absolutely phenomenal. I had so much fun with it. I was watching it, but that's why you guys didn't get to see me. But now I get to talk to you and let you guys know what happened in case you missed it. We did end up having King, and now PH Zin or Faizan, I'm sorry, I don't know exactly how his name is pronounced. I didn't get to the bottom of it at the event. Everyone was calling him PH Zin, so I'm gonna go with that. They did end up winning it, and it was incredible. They ended up beating out Clix and Day at the very end. It was such an exciting finish. It was first to 5, win by 2, just like a lot of the Zone Wars tournaments, and I think it ended up going like 9-7 or 8-6. It was just ridiculous. Also, it was a single elimination bracket at the end there as well, and King's team was at the bottom of this, so they had to win every single game to make it back. The runners-up match was between them and Miro and Dukes, who had not gotten beaten before this, or only got beaten one time, I think, by Clix and Day. They managed to beat them out. King's team did go through to verse Clix and Day again, who they already lost to earlier in the day, and then ended up beating them. It was such a ridiculous finish, and honestly, I have to say these were the two best teams on the day. Clix and Day played so incredibly well. Obviously, Day is an absolute Zone Wars fiend. Clix's mechanics are ridiculous. Hasn't been practicing Zone Wars as much, but I think honestly probably had more practice going into it than King's team from what I saw. I tried to have a bit of a chat with King and PH Zin, but their English wasn't fantastic. Their English was good enough, but it was kind of hard to have an in-depth conversation about their experience with Zone Wars. But the one thing I wanted to touch on was, I feel like maybe you can argue, you can try and say whatever you want, or Clix and Day should have won, this team should have won, but the team it meant the most to won. I was so blown away to see that King was actually brought to tears after winning this. There was no prize pool on the line, by the way. This was just bragging rights, a trophy, a super cool event, but then King's dad came out and PH Zin's mum came out, and they were all so happy. It honestly almost brought me to tears how much it meant to them just to prove at a LAN event on LAN setup setups that they are just as good, if not better, than all the players there. Yes, it wasn't a competitive LAN event. It wasn't like a World Cup. It wasn't in the regular competitive game mode, but Brazil as a region, just like NA West, just like OC, like Asia and Middle East, any of the smaller regions, they always hear the same thing. Oh yeah, you won, but you're on Brazil. Oh yeah, you won, but you're on NA West. To see them actually beat out, you know, the best players around the world, the caliber of Clix and Day, to prove that their mechanics not only stack up, but were better on the day than Clix and Day. Honestly, it was insane. I know it sounds like I'm cheering against the NRG boys, and Clix and Day were upset. They were very, very upset, but honestly, they handled it so graciously. I just love seeing all the guys together at a LAN event where there was no egos, no one was talking a whole bunch of smack, everyone was having fun, everyone was lifting each other up. When teams lost, they went over and congratulated who beat them. Clix and Day was super humble, super like, you know, really, really engaging about it. They came over, said, GG's, you guys just played better, you won. It was just so great to see, and I want LAN events back, man. Just being there, just watching it, seeing how much fun everyone was having, and the energy it brought, and how much, again, it just reduced the toxicity, seeing the people you're up against are real people. Yes, if you added a ridiculous prize pool, like you started having, you know, millions of dollars in the line, I'm sure people would get more upset and maybe more toxic, but I feel like LAN events is what Fortnite is missing right now, and I don't think anyone's arguing that. But man, coming back from such a fantastic event, I really hope Fortnite or maybe DreamHack does something like this, because it was interesting. I mean, the update the night before the event made it that any multi-round creative map it was broken. Nothing worked. So the morning of the event, I am messaging Finest, trying to organize him to get a map made for the event. He literally clutched up so big for his big shout out to Finest. He made the map the morning of the event to make it work with a different mechanism to break the build. So yeah, there was drama. Yeah, there was issues, but if NRG can fly these guys out and run a mini LAN event like this, I see no reason why big companies like DreamHack or Fortnite themselves can't start to get some LAN events going. I think everyone loved watching it. It was just great. I just want more, man. I just want more LAN events. All right, guys, that does it for another video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please chuck a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.